First, let me thank you, Mr. Speaker, Senator Williams, our Senate President, for allowing us to do this today. It is fitting that we stand and sit in our people's house to honor those in Newtown. I also want to thank all of you for your thoughts and prayers over the last several days. And I thought what I would talk about a little bit today is to try to tell you about the people of Newtown. They are people of great faith. And in that faith, they have an uncommon strength and compassion, which I think many people have seen over the last couple of days. In what undoubtedly has been our darkest hour, there have been acts of extraordinary bravery and heroism. We know that 6 people, teachers, administrators, literally gave their lives to protect those of our children. And there are many other stories that happened in that school that day as well that haven't been told. There was a librarian who had a 4th grade class in the library, took them into a back room, closed the door, kept the kids quiet, which is hard to do, with paper and crayons, so the gunman could not hear that they were in there. There's the teacher who walked into an administrative meeting where there were other teachers and administrators, forced open a window and got all but one out through the window. When one couldn't fit, he went back, hid with her, and when the gunman came in the room, didn't see anybody. One of those who got out through the window was a 4th grade teacher who I've known for 25 years. She actually introduced me to my wife. And when I introduced the lieutenant governor to her at the vigil the other night, she started to cry, and Lieutenant Governor, as is her way, her incredible way, put her arm out, touched her shoulder, and said, "It's okay, you can cry." Her response was, "I'm afraid that if I start, I'll never stop." And despite that pain that she's going through, what she's said to me over the last couple of days is, "I want to get back together with my kids. I want to get back in school. I want to be teaching them. I want to be with them." That's how incredible these people are, after suffering so much loss and seeing such horrific events. And I want you to know that I've seen that all throughout the people of our state. Our first responders, some who've said that they've seen things that they never imagined they would see. Dealing with bravery and heroism, keeping a scene that could have been chaotic at the firehouse to run extraordinarily well, so that there was space and peace for all of the families, those who were coming to pick up their kids and those, unfortunately, whose kids were not there. There were the Newtown officials who worked with the first responders incredibly well, and I have to tell you, I will single out a few, but the first select woman in Newtown, Pat Lodra, is one of the most extraordinary people you will ever meet. And she has carried such a heavy burden, and I am so proud that she is there for the people of our town. Our president, having the President of the United States in our town and speaking such incredible words, I thought, not as a president, but as a father. I want you to know how extraordinarily important that was to the healing process of the people in town and probably the people of our nation. Deborah Lee Hovey and her compassion and fierceness on behalf of the people of Newtown has always been amazing, and that will be needed in the months and years to come. Thank you. To my friend Chris Liddy, I take no credit that you were my intern years ago. Chris and I spent most of the day Friday together in that firehouse. I saw how this impacted you, your town, the people you grew up with, the people you've worked so hard for. I saw how your presence comforted them. And I have to tell you, it comforted me, because I don't know if I could have made it through Friday without you next to me. To our governor and lieutenant governor. Governor Malloy, your leadership, your strength, and your compassion were extraordinary and are extraordinary. I've seen you in a light that I guess hopefully we never thought we would see each other, but on behalf of the people of Newtown, the people of this state, thank you. And I want my colleagues to understand that in addition to his presence and his compassion and strength in the middle of this dark day, everything else was running well. It's unimaginable that you can do both. But when I looked around wondering when someone from the school board was calling, John, we may need your help, how are we going to go forward? Instead of wondering how I was going to get in touch with Commissioner Pryor, he was there. When we were wondering if we were going to set up in town places where people can go and meet grief counselors, I didn't have to wonder how it was going to happen because Commissioner Katz was there. Every and any resource that the state of Connecticut has to help the people of Newtown has been available. And I believe it's been extended beyond the people of Newtown as well. So for that, sir, thank you very much. To the clergy in town, and I think if you all watched the interfaith vigil the other night, you saw what a diverse town Newtown is. And at risk of pointing out one, Father Bob, Monsignor Weiss, to us, Father Bob, you are an extraordinary individual who have strengthened so many of us in these past days. Earlier today, I want you to know a little bit, maybe beyond what you've seen in the news about these amazing young children, with one story, because I think they all have similar stories. And it was one from the service today for Caroline Brevity. And Father Bob told the story about how St. Rose was having a Christmas toy drive. And Caroline, then 5, went back home, took everything out of her piggy bank, brought it back to Father Bob at St. Rose, and said, "Here, use this to buy toys for kids. I don't need it. It's better for them." There are hundreds of stories for each of these amazing 20 beautiful children. Those are the children of Newtown. And sadly, we've lost 20 of them. I want to read very briefly something that appeared as an editorial in the Newtown Bee, just the last part of it. And Newtown Bee has been around for 135 years. It's part of what makes Newtown, Newtown. And in the editorial, they talk about answering for Newtown. And the last part reads like this: "Our community has suffered a grievous wound, a wound that will leave an obvious scar. From now on, when people learn that we are from Newtown, they will focus on that scar, and perhaps impolitely, it will be the first thing they ask about our town. We will never hide it or apologize for it. It is the mark left behind by so many innocents who were violently torn from the embrace of our community on December 14th, 2012. We will never forget them. And our message to the rest of the world, which is listening so closely to us now: remember the great promise of all the lives of the children and the educators who died at Sandy Hook Elementary School, and live accordingly." I think, like many of you, my life has been changed and may not ever be the same. And I plan to live my life accordingly. As long as I am blessed to represent the great people of Newtown, I will use my voice to make sure that they are not forgotten. And it is my hope that we can all come together beyond politics and work together to do our part in Connecticut to make sure that something like this can never happen again. And let us have those debates, whether it's on school security, mental health parity, long overdue, gun control, violence in Hollywood. Whatever it is, we need to lead by example together beyond politics, be an example to our state, be an example to our country, and be an example to our world that we can be a better people. And lastly, let me say that beyond what we can do as a government, I plan to just try to be a better person. And I think we all need to be better people. I've probably hugged my kids a lot harder and a lot longer, and I know we all have. And I'm as guilty as the next person in running too fast and worrying about the next thing. But I think it's time for us all to take stock in what's important in life. As Chris said, family, friends, and faith. Thank you for all of your well wishes. Thank you for caring so deeply about the people of Newtown. And God bless the people of Newtown.